Come on, come here.
Hey, good girl. Hey guys, it's Evan with MK Exotic. My dog is making a showing today. This is my older dog. Her name's Mona. She turned 12 in March, and she's wonderful. She just beats knees, but she's also very needy with her emotions, and she needs attention right now. So she's not gonna let me film this unless you guys let her show up in the film. But anyways, guys, it's Evan with MK Exotic, and I'm still kind of limited with the amount that I'm able to get into my animals because of my head. But I just want to give you guys an update on the children's pythons clutches that I had this year. I ended up with 15 babies, 15 beautiful babies. That's pretty exciting. And I just offered the entire group their third meal. So basically what I try to do is I try to wait until about 4 weeks old, 5 weeks old before I offer the first meal. It just seems futile before that. And then I go ahead and I make presentations about once a week to the whole group. I break the group up so that it's not super frustrating. But I have just finished offering the entire group frozen thawed parboiled pinkies for the third time. So each one of them has seen a feeder 3 times, and 12 of the 15 have eaten voluntarily a frozen pinky that was scented with lizard. And so at this point, what I want to talk to you about is basically where we are, and we're moving out of the first hump and into the second hump of getting babies feeding and getting them ready for their new homes. And if you've heard me talk about this before, there's 2 different phases to getting in snake feeding. The first one is what we call I call it like the tabula rasa, or the blank slate, or in behavior it'd be called the respondent phase. And this is when you're trying to use their instincts, the instinctual genetic codes in them for feeding response to elicit a feeding response on a prey item. And so this is actually the most challenging thing because there's no history of learning or reinforcement that these animals have had from prior feedings to encourage them to feed that first time. So you don't have a lot to rely on other than their encoded genetic disposition to eat. And especially with things like children's pythons, things, they tend to be coded for, like, the belief is like lizards and things rather than rodents. So that's why in the first hump, what you're trying to do is use scent, lizard scent on a non-natural prey item to get them to display that behavior of feeding. So that first hump is going from nothing, no feeding, tabula rasa, there's no learning in their minds that will encourage feeding to them having their first meal. And that is the first hump. And that's the hardest hump to get over. And the majority of these, 12 of the 15, I've picked up. And like I talked about before, it's kind of a bell curve. You know, if I start offering at 4 weeks, I'll get 1 or 2 the first time that I offer, and then the last 2 feeding offers, I picked up a lot of them. It's just a really encouraging one. That's always how it goes for me. But the first time you offer feeding, you get 1 or 2 to feed, and it's really frustrating on everything else. But then the second and third time you've offered feeding, now they're like 6, 7, 8 weeks old. That's when you get the majority of them, and so that's the hump in the bell curve as far as when they're going to start feeding. And then now I've got 3 left that I've got to work on a little longer. And actually, 2 of those I've gotten them to strike and voluntarily start eating a prey, but then they've gone off the prey for one reason or another. It's just real frustrating and finicky when they get started. But so we are coming out of the hard phase with these after the 3rd feeding attempt. And I'll tell you, it takes a long time. It takes about 3 hours. Not super active time. I feed, and if they strike, I walk away. But it takes about 3 hours per presentation these first few times to get 15 of them offered food, broken up over several days. So we're moving out of that really frustrating period of time, and we're moving into the period of time when they're going to be because they're going to build momentum for feeding. The second hump is strengthening that feeding response through repetitions and cycles, and then tapering off the lizard scent so that they will then eat just pure rodents. And that's once you get past the first couple of feedings on these, they tend to get really pick up. It just becomes super encouraging. So that's where I am right now. What you're going to start seeing from here, I did film all 3 of the feeding attempts on a group of 5 of them, so I have that up, and I posted the first one up. I'm editing the second one. They're like hour and 15-minute long videos, so it's actually hard for my computer to do. So I'll get those 2 up, and I will continue to film that group of 5 for another few feeding cycles, just to show you go into the full feeding response. But from here, before they're ready for you guys in new homes, basically what I need to do is get them onto unscented pinkies, which a lot of these would take right now if they've taken 1 or 2 feedings that were scented. A lot of them will go over to unscented pinkies now, which is my standard. I will not send out something that requires a scented pinky. And then what I want to see is them get 5 to 10 meals in them before I send them out. And basically what I want them to do, I want to see them hopping off the ground to snatch that pinky off their tongue before I send them out to you. Just because they're small animals, they are a little bit of a funny feeder to begin with, and it's not hard to get them feeding, but it is time consuming. It takes a little bit of nuance, and I just like to absorb that for you guys first, but that's where I am. It's just an update for you guys, and look forward to seeing some more videos of these once I get them really rolling, because I don't disturb them too much for filming when I'm trying to get them feeding, but once they start to establish, you're going to start seeing them, and I have 15 beautiful children pythons that are going to be ready for you guys here at the end of summer. Take care. Bye-bye.